Hello and welcome back to Disco Elysium, where maybe we can convince Lena to tell me about some cool cryptids.
Sometimes the most charming thing you can do is be reasonable in your requests.
Could you tell me about just one interesting
I
cryptid?
suppose you could use a break and I could use a distraction.
One cryptid, like you said. One. This can't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza. We have things to do.
But I like the sound of a cryptid extravaganza.
And I don't. Just one.
Fine.
Ooh, tough choice there.
What's the biggest cryptid? Is this a bird cryptid? It's the tiniest cryptid. What's the most dangerous cryptid? Are there invisible cryptids? Is this a bird cryptid?
No, it's the cryptid.
Well, decrypted?
Oh, yes.
And what is the
The
cryptid?
eight-eyed teratorn, the largest flying avian ever discovered, with a wingspan of 11.5 meters.
Bullshit!
It was thought
What?
to have gone extinct 3,500 years ago. Some even doubted the fossils were real. A mutation, they said. Until
Even a dinosaur, I seriously doubt something that big could fly.
Mutation? All of evolution is a mutation.
Technically correct, but until
it was sighted by renowned Gotvaldian explorer and naturalist Uwe Plattenkalk in 21.
I mean, I guess maybe. Like, no, I don't think something this big would be able to fly. It'd be too heavy, even with bird-like bones.
This renown seems a bit dubious. Your own catalogue comes up completely empty. But, of course, you are not all-knowing.
Need to hear about this sighting.
It happened on a botanical expedition into the vast and unexplored Oamrau Canyon in southeast Ilmara. Dr. Plattenkalk got separated from his group during a sandstorm.
And Umarau is?
The world's largest canyon system, sweetie. It's a barren waste east of the Erg Desert, an ancient riverbed completely dried up.
What happened?
Alone in the blasted desert heat, the doctor wandered eastward, where man hasn't stepped foot in over 1,000 years, since the fall of Pericarnassus. He was lost, without any navigation equipment and desperately low on water. After a day or two, he noticed a bird high in the noon sky. A great black bird. It seemed gargantuan.
So he was dehydrated and probably suffering from heat stroke when he saw this.
Every now and then, the bird would dive down to feed on an animal carcass somewhere on the horizon. But by the time Uwe got there, the teratorn had taken off already, and the carcass was picked clean. This happened many times.
It followed him?
More like he followed it. A bird that big has many liters of blood in it, and he was dying of thirst. For many days, Dr. Plottenkalk followed the teratorn until they reached a great canyon wall, where the bird finally landed to rest. The professor climbed up there with a rock in his hand. He found the bird sleeping with his head tucked under its wing, a great black pile of feathers on the perch. So he approached, slowly squeezing the rock in his fist. Then the teratorn suddenly looked at him. He could see it had 8 eyes, 4 on either side of its skull, like a spider. And the man couldn't move. He was paralyzed, frozen into place with the rock in his hand. Whatever he did, he could not get closer to the bird.
So the bird had psychic powers.
The bird was controlling his
For
mind.
fuck's sake.
It kept him from approaching. He could step back, but every time he stepped forward, paralysis. Uva spent 3 days trying until the bird flew away.
How did he
The
survive?
eight-eyed Teratorn was indifferent to him, as long as he didn't get closer than 2 steps. It even let him feed on some carcasses up there, and the 2 unfertilized eggs it left behind.
Eight-eyed mind-controlling bird. Fuck yeah.
Absolutely, sweetie. Cryptozoologists have been tracing it ever since, but Wamrao is vast, mysterious, and holds many secrets.
I'm sure it does.
Modern radar telemetry shows great promise. We will confirm this one by the end of the decade, latest.
Of course you will.
This one I liked. Not only does it have 8 eyes, and is a living fossil, and the largest bird ever to live, it also does mind control.
See, Kim? This is entertaining.
He's sincere. He likes the audacity of it.
So what was the last anyone saw of it?
Sadly, yes, but there are numerous reports of 8-eyed bird skulls from Il Mara. And then there's the striking resemblance to the Pericarnassian imperial eagle, an ancient heraldic symbol that is hard to pass off as coincidence. The imperial eagle, too, had 8 eyes.
And we've never seen heraldic symbols made out of meteorological creatures. That's definitely not something that ever happened.
Not really. It's just stylization. The way they drew eyes. It's not a zoological drawing.
Yeah.
Very, very hard.
This one's very famous. Everyone knows it. People will be looking at that tie on you and thinking, that man is into cryptids. So, what else do you want to know?
You know, Kim, I know you said just one, but it's me. You know I have to know all of them. What's the biggest cryptid?
That would be the giant of Kokonur. The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Kokonur Desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across the barren wastes.
What do you mean, strange light?
Mirage or psychogenous luminance.
Just how big is it?
No one knows for sure. It is like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon and expanding to cover almost a third of your field of vision.
Is it dangerous?
The towering luminosity of Kokonur is a bad omen in local folklore. Some say it's a fata morgana, others, fate unimaginable.
Who here? No animal can be that large. It's a mirage.
Yeah, probably.
That's what makes it so peculiar. A species surviving at the very limits of scientific law. The giant of Kokonur must be the largest animal the planet can support. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget.
The
Some
blue
say
whale.
a gravity anomaly below the Kokonur desert might allow the creature to grow to these gargantuan sizes.
No, the blue whale is the largest animal the planet can support. This is bullshit.
Great. This is great shit. You need more.
Oh yeah, this is definitely great shit. I want to smoke what she's having.
Gravity anomaly. Dig in it. Dig in this parascientific stuff right here.
What's the tiniest cryptid?
Hey, you promised you'd only ask about one cryptid.
But Kim...
The lieutenant pauses, thoughtfully.
Ah, fuck it. Let's have more cryptids.
I know you want it, Kim.
Well, the smallest cryptid is the Cryobacter catlensis, a unicellular bacterium. It was discovered in one of the northernmost points of Katla on the Boreal Plateau by renowned geologist Caitlin Mijanou some 70 years ago.
And what's so special about it?
The bacterial colony Mijanou found had remained alive while frozen in ice for longer than anyone could reliably estimate. Certainly from before recorded history.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Michanu disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study,
Such...
no doubt in hopes of prolonging her own
Oh,
life.
this sounds like such a good idea. Definitely. Find some mysterious bacteria and inject yourself with it. Fucking fantastic. Oh, so smart. This is such a smart decision right here. She injected herself with it?
Yes, the bacteria had survived in the ice since times immemorial. It is not hard to see where she could have gotten the idea.
Uh, it's not hard to think that she might not have thought that idea through.
It's actually a little hard to see. But do go on.
There's an immortal geologist wandering the world.
Yes, and she's quite mad, too. After she treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging, but also became increasingly eccentric and irascible, so that even her oldest friends were forced to pull away. We can assume that she has been living somewhere in the wilderness for decades now, all alone except for the Cryobacter catlensis coursing through her bloodstream.
Of course. Of course. What's the most dangerous cryptid?
The gnome of Jeroma.
Sounds... doesn't sound too bad.
Oh, it is. None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue.
Mm-hmm.
It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and a ungainly little thing. Quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die.
That's fucked up.
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks, confirming the existence of this very little species?
See, Kim, I'm assuming the venom dissolved its body.
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science.
Alas, always alas, and then it was gone. Isn't that overly convenient?
Yeah, it does seem very convenient.
I understand your skepticism, but that's what happens with things that are rare and stand out. Their disappearance is most memorable, and they are least likely to be found again.
Oh, I'm sure there are many invisible
What an
cryptids.
interesting question. And the answer is yes, there are.
Of course. All fairy tales have someone or something invisible in them.
Shush, Kim, she's gonna tell me about the invisible cryptid.
It's the Col de Mamadakwa. Its name means thin whisper of sound, and that's precisely what it is. Self-replicating sound waves, invisible and intangible. The Col de Mama is very afraid of us, which makes it incredibly difficult to track.
So you're telling me there's some kind of sentient sound wave? Sure.
Kola Mama Dakwa can also be translated as a whisper light and low.
Could it be here right now?
It could be. As I said, it could be everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we wouldn't know any better. It could be ringing all the days of our lives and nights. Yes, that's another translation. They're both quite lovely, aren't they? Although the low part is a little ironic. The Col de Mamadakwa makes, or rather is, such a high-pitched sound that other animals, including humans, can't hear it.
Of course.
It could be everywhere all of the time, and we wouldn't know.
Of course not.
Fine, I'll bite. How can an animal be a sound?
Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle, that emits sound waves, but there's no evidence to support this theory.
Of course there's not. Why would there be? What evidence is there of this animal being a sound?
Plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. In the 20s, a group of areopagite ornithologists, that is, scientists who study birds, were trying out a new recording technology for capturing sounds outside the range of human hearing.
Okay.
When playing back recordings they had made in the foothills of the Ea mountain range, they noticed certain anomalies, patterns that seemed random at first, but on closer examination were consistent with the waveforms of songbirds.
Yeah, let's just nod.
The scientists soon discovered they could track and even predict what appeared to be feeding, mating, and migration patterns based on sound waves in a strictly delimited range of ultrasonic frequencies, even higher than those of the highest pitched bat calls. They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Coldamamadaqua, after the Paracanassian name for the voice of God, which is said to be very silent.
Whoa.
They grew quite obsessed with these little birds. Even though they couldn't see them, they could distinguish among individual birds and even began to name some of them.
What names did they give them, pray tell?
Sequester, Time, Joscan. Those are but some of the Mamadaqua they followed individually.
Why is it so afraid of us?
That is a sad story. A group of university students assisting with the field work in their enthusiasm for the project, and no doubt because they were preoccupied with impressing their professors, nearly drove it to extinction.
Extinction, you say?
They tried to communicate with it and had no other means but sound. So they started sending out sound waves at frequencies they thought might match the Mamadaqwas. And what happens when a sound wave meets another sound wave of the same frequency, dear?
They cancel each other out.
Psst. They cancel each other out.
Hey, I knew this one.
Exactly. And these tests were performed so recklessly that when they happened upon the right frequency, well, they wiped out most of the population.
What a shame.
Great regret washes over her. A Wending cloth.
After that, the corpuscle appears to have migrated elsewhere. There have been recordings of anomalies similar to those spotted in Ea, but they've been few and far between. It's impossible to confirm the presence of any stable Coldamamadaqua population anywhere.
Of course, a common thread in these. Disappearance and unfalsifiability. I like the story, though, ma'am.
I'm glad you did, dear. What about what?
This has been educational.
Of course, dear.
You don't know this about me. I lost all my memory of the world.
Surely things can't be that bad?
I'm a cryptid myself.
You sense that she won't judge you, no matter what you say.
Things aren't bad. They're catastrophic.
You know where we are, right?
We're in the Whirling in Rags cafeteria.
That's right. And where is the whirling itself located?
In Revachol?
Yes, indeed. We are in the fine city of Revachol.
Honestly, I don't really know anything about Revachol.
Oh my, how would I even begin to tell you? Revachol is the most beautiful city in the world. We're fortunate to be here, you and I.
Is it though? It's a lot of ruins.
I haven't seen very many other cities personally. Everyone says so. Revachol is a rare jewel. This city used to rule the world, though it has seen better days.
It definitely has.
Speaking of history, you know what year it is, yes?
The spring of 51?
That's right, dear. How splendid. Here, take this pen. Knowledge should always be rewarded.
Why, thank you.
Her relief is palpable. She was getting pretty worried about you there, but now she relaxes her shoulders.
Hey, I'm not that far gone.
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under?
I'd like
What
to.
mode of government?
I'd like to think it's a dictatorship of the proletariat, but something tells me it's not. Radios are being used to control people's minds. Our true masters, foreigners, and women. For fuck's sake. Cop. We're living under the cop regime. I mean, this is accurate, though. Governed by intelligent machines to determine the freest market. I'd like to think it's a dictatorship of the proletariat, but something tells me it's not.
Oh, sweetie, it's really not. There used to be people who thought that way, other people who wanted those things, but they all went extinct.
No, they didn't. We're still here. Somehow.
Revachol is a zone of control led by
not
an
me.
alliance
I'm
of
not a
foreign powers called the Coalition. We have almost no government of our own, and certainly no dictatorship of the proletariat.
Damn.
But they still have cops.
If there's no government, how come there are cops?
Oh dear. And you were doing so well. There aren't really any cops in Revachol, not in the traditional sense. The status of law enforcement has been a complicated matter since the revolution.
But we are cops, aren't we, Kim?
But we should stop for today, sweetie. You look like you need a break. Besides, I'm not the best person to explain the big things to anyone.
So how did I do?
You were doing quite well up until the end there. It does look like you're having trouble remembering things, history and places. Remembering reality, in a word. It's very odd.
A sigh. The lieutenant buries his nose in his notebook.
But maybe a fresh set of eyes is what the world needs. And while I'm no doctor, such bouts of amnesia are often temporary, so I wouldn't worry too much.
She means this sincerely. Worrying won't do you any good.
What is this revolution you mentioned?
A
Although I
defeat,
already
I'm
know.
afraid. The people of this archipelago tried to build something new. Something different. The rest of the world didn't like it, so they came and ended it. This was 42 years ago.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes, isn't it?
It has something to do with everything. I really don't know how to explain it better.
I'm just a poor woman, she thinks. What do I know of these things? And how can I help you?
Someone more educated in sweeping matters. Maybe you should ask.
No, I'm not an encyclopedia. I won't be a guide either. I'm a police officer.
Come on, Kim.
Of course. Then, I don't know, someone rich maybe. Wealthy people are educated, though I don't know where you would find a wealthy person in Martinez.
I know exactly where to find a wealthy person in Martinez, but I don't think she's the person I want to be learning history from.
But thank you, sweetie. You did make me forget about my worries for a while.
Are there more cryptids
You
I can learn
know-
about?
To hell with it. Let's have more cryptids.
Yay! Thank you, Kim.
Of course, officers. Is there a particular cryptid you two are interested in learning about?
What about the cryptid in the pen?
Yes. It's the kind green ape. Half war story, half undiscovered species in the genus Homo.
War story?
Yes, it was reported by soldiers in South Safra during the war. The kind green ape would visit bunkers during the night, healing wounded soldiers with its saliva.
That's some unbelievable shit.
Indeed, there is. It's our closest relative among the cryptids. Same taxonomic family, different genus. Which is to say, the kind green ape is a species with which we share a common ancestor, and that evolved parallel to our own. Just like your partners.
I'm pretty sure Kim's the same species as us.
The lieutenant looks at you, pleasantly surprised.
Pleasantly surprised. Come on, Kim. Don't you have more faith in me than this?
Oh, no, I didn't mean to imply that Saolites are inferior to us in many ways. You are superior. For example, your earwax doesn't have a foul odor like ours does.
Oh my fucking god, this just keeps getting worse.
A tremendous evolutionary advantage, I'm sure. But perhaps we've had enough speculative biology for today.
I just can't get enough of these
I'm
cryptids.
glad you like them, but I'm not really one to tell you about all of them. You should ask my husband if you get the chance. He's the real expert.
That's all for now, ma'am. Let's do something else other than talk about cryptids.
Wait, no, something about this bunch doesn't smell right.
The Everards guys?
They are, but they don't seem too keen to talk with you, do they?
I mean, that was to be expected, wasn't it?
No, they don't. Glenn seems to be contemplating grievous bodily harm while he massages his raw knuckles. In the far back, Eugene is doing his best to ignore you. And from his perch at the end of the table, Titus Hardy himself stares at you with a cold contempt that makes you want to leave the cafeteria straight away. Besides, you're pretty sure they consider themselves social democrats.
Ah, damn. Come on, guys. So
I've got nothing to say to you.
you're not gonna build communism with me. So sad.
Hi, gendarme. Another rendezvous.
Hello?
I see you found yourself a little something from my wardrobe. Not bad. Not bad at all. What brings you here?
Tell me again about that muscular type.
Oh yes, let's see. He knocked on my door a few days after the lynching. I think he was going through the entire building, asking questions.
And what do you tell him?
Nothing. That I didn't see anything.
Did he believe you?
Why shouldn't he?
Did you tell him about your friend?
What friend?
Your Sunday friend.
No, I don't think it came up.
What did he look like?
Muscular, handsome, strong, like one of those military types.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yes, but he was speaking to someone on his earpiece. Yes, you know those tiny speaker microphones that fancy security guards sometimes wear.
And what was he saying?
Just reporting back whatever I was telling him.
So he was talking to the rich lady. Besides muscular, did he have any other identifying traits?
Oh, let me think. He had an accent. He sounded like one of those mercenaries. He sounded vaguely Oranese. No, not vaguely, scratch that. He sounded definitely Oranese.
Thanks for the information.
Sure. Anything else on your mind?
What are you doing here?
Admiring the atmosphere. What about you, officer?
I live here. Well, I don't. It's where I'm going to go down in history. I'm going to sing karaoke.
Really? Well, I look forward to that.
I met
You
your Sunday
did?
friend.
And how did you like him?
He was magical. Magically bureaucratic. I don't trust governments.
Oh, shoot. Why not?
I can't answer the question? Okay. Who is he?
A visitor from the first world. He's not like you and me, gendarme. He can always return to his opportunities in Occident, sur la clé. Still, his coming and going brings some life to the village. Or is it just money? I don't know.
I might regret asking this, but what are you two?
Friends, I told you. Sunday friends. Friends who like to get together from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
That he won't be there when times get tough, I guess.
Is that even a friend?
It is. On Sundays.
I know the answer to this. Why am I so...
He has keys. And he likes the view. To the sea, I mean.
Sure, to the sea. I don't want to talk about other people. I want to talk about you.
What about me, gendarme?
What about
You
this
can
hat I'm
keep it.
wearing?
I don't mind. I can appreciate beauty when I see it.
I wasn't planning on giving it back. It's like carrying a piece of you all times. Took it to blend in. I'm undercover, you see.
Blend in where? A carnival?
Maybe. Secret.
It's the sports. He's a sports guy, all about that physical prowess and athletic skill.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else here.
Definitely.
Bye-bye, gendarme.
Karaoke time. It's the best way to end the episode. How do I karaoke? Where is the karaoke machine? Okay, what's this? +1 to Inland Empire, +1 to Volition. And this is just +1. Okay, so it's basically just a flat upgrade. Nice. Didn't I have...
There's no way to listen to the tape without a working tape player or portal reel at hand. But even just holding the tape makes you feel a little sad. A pawn shop would have a tape player.
But I want to karaoke. Why doesn't it give me the option to karaoke? I'm so sad. But that is gonna have to be it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I have been Pope. Please do leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all the things that make the algorithm happy, and I will see you all next time.